So glad you're here today. Welcome to our recovery group. My name's Gina Jones, and I will be the group leader. Um, my role in our meetings will be to make sure that we start and end on time, provide topics for us to talk about, unless there's something that one of you all have something pressing that you need to discuss or something that you want to share. Um, I'll go over the rules each meeting because they are important and we need to make sure that we follow them as best we can. Um, and I hope that y'all had a chance to look over the email that I sent you um, about some of the possible, topics that we could be going over the next 12 weeks. We don't have to stick to that list by any means. If there's something um, that you all want to discuss, or um, some meetings may not go as planned. Somebody may need more time, um, and that's fine too. Um, but the purpose of our meetings will be all about living life without the use of drugs and alcohol. Um, we want to learn how to get clean and sober and stay clean and sober. We'll talk about finding a sponsor, triggers, people that you need to avoid, places you need to avoid. Um, we'll be meeting every Wednesday from 6 to 7. And we want to, make sure that we start on time um, and end on time. And if anybody has a reason that they're going to be late or maybe won't be able to um, be with us one week, just, y'all got my phone number. Just give me a call and let me know so we won't be worrying about you. Um, let's see, some of the rules that we need to touch on real quick. Like I said, be on time. Please try and keep your video on at all times. The audio on mute's fine, but make sure that you have your video on. No family or friends need to be in the room with you because this is a closed meeting. Let's see. Make sure that you give each person that's sharing your full attention. It's hard to share some of the intimate details that we're going to be talking about, and we just need to be respectful and make sure that we listen and give them our full attention. And as far as cell phones, if you could just go ahead, and I need to do it myself, turn your cell phone on silent before we get started so we won't have any distractions. Giovanni, if you could put yours away. If you need to step out and take a phone call or anything, that's fine. We just want to make sure that we keep everything that's discussed in our meetings confidential. What's said in here needs to stay in the room. We don't need to be sharing family and friends anything that's discussed. Let's see, I think I covered everything. If I can just get a thumbs up maybe from everybody to let me know that you all understand the rules and that you agree to the confidentiality. Let's get started then. I also wanted to encourage you all to get involved in NA meetings. I think that's really important to your recovery. And if you all haven't found a sponsor, I think that's a really good place to start as far as looking for one. Sponsor somebody that's going to be there to support you, one-on-one throughout your recovery. They will also help you go through the 12 steps, work the steps with you. Let's see. If we could all just introduce ourselves now, maybe, and let me know maybe when you started using and how long you've been clean. You don't have to go into detail with what types of drugs you used. We don't want to give the drugs any more power than they've already had over us, but just when you started, how long you've been clean, and of course, who you are. And I'll start. My name's Gina. I'm a recovering addict, and I have been clean for about 10 years now. I started using, I don't know if you would consider it later in life. I mean, I was around 20, but I've been clean for about 10 years now. Does anybody else want to go? Who wants to go next? Do I need to call on somebody or?
I can go. My name's Megan, and I started using about 5 years ago, and I have been clean for a year.
Great, great. That's awesome.
My name is Giovanni. I started using about 2 years ago, and I have been clean for 11 months.
That's awesome. Glad you're here.
Glad to be here.
My name is Dominique, and I started using 7 years ago. And so I've been clean for a week now.
Oh, that's awesome. You're a newcomer for sure. We're glad you're here. And Will, I guess that leaves you.
Hi, my name's Will. I started using 2 years ago, and I've been clean for 6 months.
That's great. Glad you're here, Will. Thank you all for coming. Wanted to do an activity, but first I wanted to share just some statistics that I found that were pretty interesting. First of all, let me start out with the definitions that I found I thought were really good too, that described addiction, relapse, recovery. But in the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, you'll see that sometimes as SAMHSA. Addiction, the most severe form of substance use disorder associated with compulsive or uncontrolled use of one or more substances. It is a chronic brain disease that has the potential for relapse and recovery. And then they define relapse as a return to substance use after a significant period of abstinence, and recovery, which is what we are all in and striving for, a process of change through which individuals improve their health and wellness, live a self-directed life, and strive to reach their full potential, which is what we're all here for. The statistics that I found that were really interesting, 140 million Americans ages 12 and older currently consume alcohol and reported at least one episode in the past month of binge drinking, which was 5 or more drinks. I thought the 12 and older was very surprising. I feel like it gets younger and younger. And these statistics may be even more now since we've all been at home for a year or so with COVID. 11 million Americans ages 12 and older misused either prescription pain relievers or heroin. 18 million Americans who needed treatment did not receive it because they didn't have insurance or the funds to pay for it. 1 in 3 people that felt they needed treatment didn't get it because of the insurance, and 2 in 5 people who felt they needed treatment but did not receive it because they just weren't ready yet. And that's one thing that I'm sure y'all have found in maybe talking with other addicts, that until you're ready, nobody can force you to be ready. You just have to make that decision on your own. But I want us to go around, and if each of you would share a word that describes you before you started using, and then we're going to go around and I want you to think of a word that describes you now that you're kind of newly in recovery. So the first first time we go around, I want you to give me a word that describes you before you started using drugs. And let's see. Dominique, do you want to go first?
Sure. So you said that to describe one word describing what I was like before I did drugs,
Yeah.
while I was in drugs, and after.
Yeah, well, yeah, before you started using, what word would describe you, your personality, the type of person you were?
Before I was withdrawn. I didn't really hang out with others or socialize with others. Introvert. There we go. I was introvert.
Okay. And how old were you, did you say, when you started using?
That was 7 years ago. Probably 16, 17.
Okay. So withdrawn. Okay. Giovanni?
So the word for I would say was empty. That was, I guess, yeah, before I got clean, and then after I would say hopeful.
Helpful. That's a very good word. And that's, when we get together and we share our experiences with each other, we're giving each other hope. Even the newcomer who's just been clean a week can give those of us that have been clean longer, they keep giving us hope. That's what it takes. It takes they say that to keep your recovery, you have to give it away. So that's why we share. Megan, what would be your word?
So a word while I was using.
Maybe before you started using.
Before I started, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Probably just like sad.
Mm-hmm.
And then while I was using, I felt really lazy. And then now I feel, like Giovanni said, I feel hopeful.
That's good. Very good.
So,
Dominique, did you? I think I thought we would go around twice, but that's good just to go ahead and get it out. What would be a word that describes you?
While I was using.
Now.
Oh, now.
Yeah.
I'm reverting back to my introverted ways. So while I was using, I was the life of the party. I actually started to use because of that. I wanted to join everyone.
Be more sociable.
Yeah.
Did you find it easier to come out of your shell when you were using?
Definitely.
Will, do you have a word that you can think of that would describe you before you started using?
Yeah, I would say sad, and during, I'd say tired.
What about now? Since you said clean for 6 months?
Yes, happy and or motivated.
Motivated to get out and do more things?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Thank you all for sharing that. Do any of you all go to NA meetings? Is this your first like group setting, or have you all been going? I know, Megan, you said you've been clean about a year. Have you used NA meetings at all, or maybe a counselor or?
yeah, I've seen like an individual therapist, a counselor I see like once a week, and I still see them. But no, I've never been to an NA meeting. So
Is it something you think you would be interested in doing? Do you think it's something that would help you, or do you feel maybe that the group meetings that we're doing?
I mean, I think that since I already go to like a therapist, I feel like, and then like with this meeting, I feel like that's enough. I don't know though. I don't know. I mean, I'm down to try it, I guess. Either way.
Dominique, have you tried NA meetings or a therapist?
Not really. No, not. I haven't. This is
Okay.
my first time for
Okay.
anything.
Giovanni, have you?
I have, but I have attended one, but just to attend, I haven't shared or anything.
Will, what about you?
No, I haven't. This is my first
Okay.
meeting, I guess you could say.
Do any of you feel like triggers? Is that something that you're still dealing with? I mean, the ones that have been, Megan, you've been clean, you said a year. Dominique, were you 11 months?
Week.
A week. Oh, you're a newcomer. It was Giovanni was 11.
11 months.
Do you all feel that triggers are still something that you have to deal with as much as you did, say, 6 months ago?
Yes.
Triggers are still an issue for you?
Mm-hmm. Yes, triggers are still an issue.
And that's something that, who knows how long, you'll have to deal with that. It's just, we say one day at a time. You have to take your recovery one day at a time and just deal with each day as it comes. Megan, do you still have?
I feel like for me, it's like a little bit better, but there's still those triggers that make me want to use. And I guess like it still sucks and it's still like a struggle every day, but I don't have to try as hard to like get rid of those temptations or like those feelings. So I've gotten better at like distracting myself. But I'm still not to like where I want to be in my life. I want it to be easier, and it's just, I don't know, it's hard. And my family is like a whole nother story. But anyways, yeah, it's better, but it's not where I want to be.
Is your family, are they supportive of your recovery? Do they?
Yeah, I guess, I don't know, like they're supportive, but I feel like they're like helicoptering over me. Like I feel like they're up my butt a little bit sometimes about it. And that can be really annoying, especially since I'm an adult, but I guess it is what it is.
Yeah, they're just worried about you, I'm sure. Yeah. But what the things you're talking about, that's something that we all go through. And it does get better each day. There are bad days, but it gets better each day. Life without drugs, we're so much better where we are now than we were then.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have anything on their mind that would be causing them to want to pick up and use again that you all would want to talk about?
Like you want to know what our specific triggers are?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, absolutely. You can share that. I didn't know if you all would feel comfortable with that, but if you definitely.
Mm-hmm. I would say also my family, or not my family, just the people I have around me, not really understanding my situation. So nothing has. I feel like I'm the only one has changed, and my environment hasn't changed.
Do you live with your family?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that makes it harder.
Mm-hmm. I live with my stepbrother and then 2 cousins. So that's what I mean by family.
Do any of them use, or do they have a history of?
They use, yes, not hard drugs, but they use and they drink alcohol.
Do you find it difficult to be around them?
At times, yeah. At times I do. Some days are worse than others. Yes.
And as you know, each week those are things that we'll talk about. How to deal with those situations and what you can do when you do have those triggers. And if you all want to, take the steps and we go through each of them, we can do that if that's something you all are open to do. But we will definitely talk about triggers and what to do, how to handle those. Let's see, it's about time for us to close. Does anybody have anything else that they want to share? Will, you've been quiet. I hope we've not left you out. Is there anything that you feel like you need to get off of your chest or talk about?
No, not really.
Okay. Well,
I'm
you've
a
got my
quiet person.
number. If, sometimes I know it's hard to talk in a group setting, but if you think of anything, any of you, if y'all think of anything after the meeting, feel free to call me. I don't know if y'all have a sponsor yet, but if you need help finding one, that's something I can certainly lead you in the direction of finding one. But y'all think about over the next week, if y'all want to start with triggers, we can do that next week. But just think about out of the topics that I sent you on the email, look at those and maybe let me know next week if there's one in particular that really speaks to you that y'all want to discuss, and we will get started with that. If nobody else has anything to talk about, we will close, and I will see you all next Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Okay. Y'all have a good week. Thank you. Is it off? That did